Other news. The Court of Appeal's recent ruling on the government's COVID-19 border policy is facing a strong defense from the former administration. At an opposition media briefing on Wednesday, the three-member panel found that the government's failure to publish the criteria for travel exemptions during the criteria for... My apologies. The three-member panel found that the government's failure to publish the criteria for travel exemptions during the pandemic was unconstitutional.
The ruling came from an appeal of a case initiated by activist Ravi Balgobin Maraj and others. Former Minister of National Security Stuart, who oversaw the exemption process, acknowledged the court's decision but argued it was based on a very narrow point of law. He maintained that the government's actions were necessary to protect the population during an unprecedented health crisis. According to official figures, the ministry processed over 5,700 applications for entry.
The challenge is not to the subsidiary regulations which impose the travel ban on entry into Trinidad and Tobago. Neither is it a challenge to the criteria themselves. The challenge is in effect to the manner in which the exemptions were administered by applying a criteria which was not disclosed to the public.
Young went on to quote from the judgment, pointing to the court's acknowledgement of the difficult circumstances.
In coming to my conclusion in this appeal, I am deeply mindful that the minister and his team, indeed the entire cabinet, were faced with a very difficult situation.
Young became visibly impassioned when addressing comments made by former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan, who called on the previous administration to hang their heads in shame. Young dismissed the call, stating it was an unacceptable characterization of the government's pandemic management, which had received international accolades.
If there is anyone who should hang their heads in shame in this country, at the bar, is a former Attorney General who is before criminal courts with criminal charges to answer for witness tampering and other aspects of breach of criminal law.
The court's decision had set a precedent on how future administrations must balance public safety with citizens' constitutional rights. The former government maintains its approach saved lives and earned the country's praise from organizations like the World Health Organization for its swift response and the development of a parallel healthcare system. Jewel Green George, Tobago Updates Television News.